I go a lot up until earlier today. I thought I had D-Mac's trajectory going into this next chapter of Power laid out. But after watching a video from my boy MovieBot, shout out to MovieBot, fellow Power YouTuber. Go subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a little less sure about where exactly D-Mac is about to end up going forward in the Power universe. But I'm gonna still speculate, give you my thoughts on where I was thinking bro was about to go and what's keeping me from outright saying that this is the direction I feel like D-Mac is about to go. Like anything I gotta say all in this video, everyone know what you gotta do. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow if you want TikTok. And let's talk about D-Mac real quick. So we know by the end of Power Book 44, Tariq pulled up. I told y'all I was finna have humble break out the way. We know that he and D-Mac had a conversation, nephew to nephew. They was really rapping for a little bit. And in that conversation, D-Mac told Tariq that Uncle Tommy is everything to him. But he also told him everything that they've been building out here in Chicago. And Tariq was peeping all this. After and during this conversation, we see Tariq gets looking like this a couple times. We see him observe the meeting that Shanti is running for CBI. He decides by the end of the season to enlist Tommy, now that things are looking good in Chicago, to pull up to New York to start working with him to make some real bread. Tommy doesn't say what he's going to do by the end of the season, but I think it's pretty obvious that that boy is going back to New York. They wouldn't have left it on a cliffhanger otherwise. We know that D-Mac is more than likely not going to like this. He literally just said in the last episode that Uncle Tommy has been everything to him. On top of that, he just lost his dad that he was starting to establish a bond with, and he just sent Genesis away to school. And Kate just left. She took her times back to New York too, so he really doesn't have any immediate family here in Chicago anymore. I know it's a lot of y'all out here saying that D-Mac is going to go to New York with Tommy. I personally don't see that. It's possible. I just don't see it happening. At least I didn't. We're going to talk about what I did see going out for D-Mac and why I'm like, I don't really know if that's the plan anymore. Now, being that I'm mostly of the belief that D-Mac is not going to be a main character in Power or Legacy, I figure his character will continue to kick it in the shot and not go to school with Genesis, knowing that he is 100% in this gangster life. Run with the new CBI regime that is now ran by Shanti, with Miguel working alongside her. I think D-Mac will feel a lot more comfortable running with CBI knowing that Shanti's leading, especially knowing that A, his uncle left her in charge, B, Shanti saved his life at episode 9, and then he returned the favor at episode 10. I think it's safe to say he feels comfortable around her. Then when you throw Miguel into the mix too, these are two people that D-Mac can learn a lot from, learn more about the game from, to learn to be less erratic, who's using certain situations to your advantage in order to create bonds rather than disarray. The two people that have years of experience in doing both. I think that by the end of a potential D-Mac spinoff series, he'd be a lot better off because of the teachings of these two. I think it would be cool to see D-Mac foster bonds between these two characters as well. All three have been in the trenches together, and it would just make for better work relationships going forward. And this idea I had, this thought process I had for where D-Mac's character was going, I'm thinking from the perspective that D-Mac will have his own Power spinoff, maybe like a mini series, a little training arc if you will. Kind of get where he needs to be to provide some real support to Tommy and Tariq, who've both been in the game for multiple years now at a professional level. That's not to say D-Mac hasn't been a gangster for a long time, but he hasn't really been taught like that for real. He's very reckless, very amateurish, and like I said, I feel like he can take a lot away from Shanti and Miguel to get to that next level. We can stand beside Tommy and Tariq and become Tommy's number 2 for real, for real. But that would not be without his challenges, and I think the biggest challenge that D-Mac would have to face in this series would be in relation to that poker game that he robbed earlier on in season 3. Find out later on in the season when Diamond and Jenard start running with Madam Wu, that Madam Wu is a big deal in the Chicago underworld. And she even mentions that one of her poker games was robbed the other night. And something tells me she's not going to take that line down with the way her character carried herself when it came to business. Outside of getting hit from the back by Diamond in this final episode, she clearly showed us firsthand that she stands on business, burning up them body parts chemically or however she was doing it. And Shorty is pretty devious when she want to be. I think there's a lot more of this character that we can get expanded on in another series. I just went back and looked. Apparently she's been around since season 1 too. Now she hasn't had that much significance in this series, partly because there's a lot of different storylines going on. But listen, with Power, they can revisit any unresolved plotline that they want to. And in a story focused on D-Mac, I could definitely see us revisiting past mistakes that he's made, having to face them head on. I was saying it so many times in season 2. This man D-Mac would do anything that he wants and just get away with it scot-free. We seen how long it took after he killed Mad Dog for King Kilo or anybody to really do anything of remote consequence to D-Mac. Here we have yet another incident of D-Mac slamming somebody and him facing no repercussions. On top of that, he was only doing this to show CBI that he meant business. I think it would be a great storyline if this incident came back to CBI in a negative way. CBI would have to go to war with the Asians, D-Mac playing a major part in that war, being the catalyst of it essentially. Also, I just think it gives us the opportunity to venture into the Asian side of the criminal world, seeing Hispanics, Serbs, Albanians. Let's see how the Asians do business. Based on how Madam Wu was burning them body parts, I don't think it's any friendly kind of business, but I think it would be a great opportunity to expand on how they do business. And I think it would be a great adversary for D-Mac to face in this first hypothetical season of this D-Mac spinoff. I was thinking we can get all of this expanded on in like one season, while D-Mac is checking in with Tommy throughout from New York, getting advice from him on how he would handle the situation, before D-Mac would pop up in Legacy as this new version of himself with all the knowledge he got from this experience. Then I got reminded today that Jenard's still alive, and that kind of kind of makes things a little bit more complicated. I already know from my last video that I'm really thinking that Jenard is going to show up in Power Legacy as a main character alongside Vic. Because what else does Jenard have in Chicago? We don't got nothing. And Vic pulled up at him to go after Tommy. If Tommy's going to New York, that's where they're going to. We know how D-Mac feels about Jenard. I cannot see him staying in the shot if he knows that Jenard went to New York after his uncle. Also a big believer that D-Mac has to be the one to put a bullet in Jenard's head. So it's like wherever Jenard go, I feel like D-Mac gotta go too. It would have to be a very valid reason for D-Mac to want to stay in Chicago after learning that Jenard has already left Chicago, knowing what he did to his dad, knowing what he's about to do to Uncle Tommy. So I'm conflicted, like what would be the reason for D-Mac to want to stay in Chicago? Maybe y'all leave your thoughts in the comments on that. Here I thought I had the blueprint laid out where D-Mac's character was going. I'm basically right back at square one. I really have no idea at this point. Jenard just throws everything off because there's no way that D-Mac is going to feel okay leaving this man alive, much less knowing that he's going after his uncle. Even if he didn't know he was going after his uncle, once Tommy tells him that he's going to New York, not only is D-Mac going to be pissed at this, but if he finds out that Jenard has evacuated the city, where else is he going to think that Jenard went? Streets talk, and if he's not hearing that Jenard's body dropped, then more than likely he left Chicago. And why else would he leave Chicago than to go after Tommy, who just took out Diamond? So yeah, I'm very conflicted. I feel like I came up with a pretty good storyline for a potential D-Mac spinoff. I kind of got to walk back because with Jenard being alive, taking him out, getting him out the way, and making these streets a lot safer is going to be his top focus. Maybe not that last part. Hey man, those are just my thoughts on where I could see D-Mac's character potentially going. I'd love to see his character expanded on, see him learn from Shanti and Miguel, see what the wine can blossom into when he has to atone for his mistake and grow and learn from them to really become Tommy's number 2 down the line. Y'all let me know where y'all think D-Mac's character is going next. Is he immediately going to go to Legacy with Tommy and Tariq, or is he staying in the shot to do Lord knows what? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll be your host, Jay, so I hope we've been entertained, and we're going to talk soon. Peace out.